gotta tell you, the end of the year last year kind of sucked because I had this whole video planned. We took it to Rockingham Dragway to run the quarter mile, and we ended up running the 12.2 on the first pass. But on the second one, we pretty much annihilated third gear. Had a lot of fun with the 3800 guys, don't get me wrong, but unfortunately it kind of put the car down and out. So ended up getting another trans to slap in it. I still have the broken one to be able to fix with using a low mileage 4-wheel drive unit that I got, but we're gonna have to do that to have a spare because we're gonna be taking this thing out this year and doing as much as we possibly can. Whether it be legal pits to do donuts, burnout competitions, car shows, drag racing, anything and everything. And in particular, I'd really like to try to do some autocross racing, and I think that I got a pretty good upgrade that should help with doing that. So I went and picked up this BMR S550 tubular subframe just the other day. I got the module that it's going to take to get the power steering working, and then these aero catch hood latches, so that way we can do away with the factory hood latch and put a second radiator fan on the front side of the radiator just to keep this thing cool, especially if we're not doing, you know, real high speeds to get a lot of airflow through the front of the car. Past that, I got a Mach 1 Mustang chin spoiler. It's not an exact fit, but I put one on a Grand Prix years ago and it turned out half decent. So I figured why not do it to this, just to give it a little bit more aggression on the front end. We'll go ahead and get this thing installed, and then we're gonna go over the advantages and why we're doing it in the first place and how it's gonna help us in the long run. So I gotta tell you, it's actually not that bad to put in there. It's kind of crazy just how much extra room that's given us. I mean, I put the side-by-side up here where you can see just how drastically different it is as far as the amount of room between the oil pan and the subframe itself, and then also the exhaust. I mean, it's not even close to touching when before it was rubbing against that. So overall, it turned out pretty good. Now, the main advantages to doing this was, number one, gaining that extra room and giving us more of the ability to tilt the engine down. So that way when we take the transmission out, if we're out at a drag strip 5 hours from home or whatever, and we need to throw our spare trans into it, we want to be able to do it quick. We have better clearance everywhere. And then not only that, this subframe is significantly stiffer than the original one. The original one made out of that stamped steel was pretty flimsy, and it didn't have these connections that are going to go from here to here. So this is nice because it actually has these 4 bolt holes that I'll be able to bring this back and go to the factory Grand Prix subframe bolt hole. There's an advertised weight saving of about 55 pounds going from the original subframe to this one. So saved a little bit of weight, got a little bit more rigid in the front. Overall, the handling should be better. It's just a massive improvement overall. I got the module in there for the power steering. The wiring's kind of sloppy, but it's in there. We're gonna see if it works. As long as everything's cool, we'll get it tucked up a little bit nicer. And I have to go back through and make some brackets for my belly pan piece here. So not a huge deal. Got the front lip put on. Again, it's not a perfect fit, but it just adds that little bit of extra aggression. You'll get a better look at it as soon as we get the car out of the shop. But I gotta do those hood latches. We'll zip right through those real quick, and then we'll take this thing out, take it for a drive, see how it does. Get this thing out of the shop, and then we'll go from there. So we're gonna take this thing to Cars and Coffee. It's like 7 in the morning, so I'm not usually used to getting up this early. So we're gonna drive down here. This is gonna be at ZMAX Speedway in Concord, North Carolina. We're gonna hit that up, and then on the way back, we're gonna go to the drag strip, try to set some times on this thing as long as they're doing testing tune today. So we need to see where it lands, because here in about a month, we're actually gonna enter this thing in a race. So. Bunch of great conversations, a whole lot of cool people that we met. So we're gonna head over to the drag strip now, see what we can do with this thing, and see kind of where it sits with the modifications that we've done up to this point. I'm hoping that it'll hook better with these tires, but there's only one way to find out. Well, we rolled up to the drag strip, and of course there's nobody here. That really sucks. Oh man. Alright, so it's kind of a bummer that the drag strip was closed. I mean, I was really wanting to end this on taking it to the drag strip and seeing what it does, especially after all the changes that have happened since the last time we saw it in a tested tube. And then with the big letdown of the transmission breaking at Rockingham, it would have been really cool to get this thing down the strip. But, you know what, a little bit of patience, we'll be able to hit the drag strip pretty soon. So that event that I'm talking about is coming up here in a few weeks, so I definitely have to get a good idea of where the car is to be able to know what class to enter it in. So past that, we're going to have to get this thing to the point that we can get underneath the car and coat all of the bare metal, because everything that we did for the conversion is uncoated and it is getting some rust on it. I really don't want to keep letting that go, because sooner or later it's going to be kind of an issue. Now past that, I mean, I'll tell you, the car does feel like it drives a lot better with this subframe in it. The power steering is a big letdown. I think there's something wrong with my rack because it's still pretty hard to move. You can definitely tell it's doing something, but not as much as what it should be. So, I don't know. We're gonna grab some food, I'm gonna get on home, and then hopefully I can come up with something fun and exciting to do within the next couple of weeks. But appreciate everybody watching. Catch you on the next one.